A very good afternoon to everyone. Am I audible? I think yes.
Yes, very much.
Okay, sir. I have a PowerPoint presentation. Maybe in between, if one or two students, if I ask, can they may be able to participate? Is it okay?
They will participate, sir. You can ask any time as you go through your lecture.
Okay. Now, firstly, let me thank you for organizing this and a wonderful opportunity and talking about me. Thank you very much. First, I would like to thank all the participants here, and I am happy to see Dr. Jyoti ma'am, head of the department from Gadag Institute of Medicals. Namaskara, madam, for attending this. I'll try to incorporate now a share for you from my PowerPoint first, and I'm making a small attempt for postgraduates, especially maybe undergraduates also, and to share my knowledge basically about approach to neck swellings. And this is the first portion of the part one of the neck swellings. Okay. This talk is dedicated to all my great teachers and students who have inspired me. You know, the mediocre teacher tells, good teacher explains, superior teacher demonstrates, and the great teacher inspires. Dedicated to Kasturba Medical College and Hospital Manipal and many other medical college and senior professors, wherever I have gone as CME participated, have contributed for this talk. I just quote you something. If it's a question of doubt in diagnosis, often observe that one man solves the doubt when others would not. The reason, because he has applied with the diagnosis some method of clinical examination which others have not applied. Okay. So clinical diagnosis is an art, and the mastery of art has no end. You can be better diagnostician. This is what are few of the quotes. Why did you think I select this topic? They are very interesting swellings. They are thought-provoking. They are very common short cases in the examination. You need to take a proper history. Time is also very limited. Physical examination, remember, no cut shots. You need to have a good anatomical knowledge, because first thing important is to know what is your anatomical diagnosis. And then comes your pathology to know what's the pathological diagnosis. So you need to have a complete knowledge, complete examination, careful examination, correlate, and common sense. I will not be able to explain to you everything, but as a postgraduate, you are supposed to know this diagram very well. All of you have read this in anatomy. Just please make a note of it before going to the exam hall, maybe for theory also, maybe for clinicals also. Triangles of the neck are very important. If you do not know the triangles of the neck properly, you will be doing blunders when you give a diagnosis in the examination. Is it okay? So again, the attachments of the deep fascia, you need to know thoroughly. Just quickly to say, you can see here anterior and posterior belly of digastric, and you can see the intermediate tendon there. And this is the submandibular triangle. I'm not talking about midline swellings today. That will be told in some other class. And you can also go here and see other triangles. This is a anterior triangle. Basically, a carotid triangle comes here. You have the muscular triangle, superior and inferior belly omohyoid which divides, and of course the sternomastoid, basic structure which divides the neck into anterior and posterior triangles. And we'll talk about the posterior triangle and midline swellings little later. Having known that, when you are given a patient with a swelling in the neck, it may be quite a big size of 10 centimeter. So it's find out where exactly the swelling started. This is the key, because that will give you some idea what structure is present in which triangle, how far it is extended now, what structures are present. Think of a pathology as usual, long history, maybe a congenital or a slow growing, very short history, malignancy. what are the common swellings which you know, and what is the pathology? This ultimately sums up probably ultimate final diagnosis. Am I audible, sir?
Yes, sir. Very clear.
Thank you. So before we proceed with the varieties of swellings, first dictum, rule number 1. Any swelling in the neck is considered as lymph nodal swelling unless proved otherwise. More than 700 plus lymph nodes are present in the neck. So I'll be not talking much about the nodal swelling today. Again, that will require some other day. We'll talk about it. But we'll talk about other swellings. How do you classify them? Suddenly when they ask you clinically, simple. Cystic means you would have definitely elicited fluctuation. Correct? So only when you have got fluctuation positive, okay, I am talking about a cystic swelling. There's a small figure here showing you the rules of fluctuation. I'll be telling it soon. Okay, if it is very solid, maybe a firm one, hard one. There's some clinical also has got some rubbery, that to say the India rubbery consistency. For a lymphoma, they use the word, not very sure about it. Sometimes it's soft or lobular. Pulsatile, especially for the neck, swellings are classified into cystic, solid, and pulsatile. I don't think there is any difficulty, but there's also one consistency I have shown in the center here. You know what's called a putty means, you know, is some kind of a toothpaste as it happens in a sebaceous cyst. You can also get in the neck, is a part of a skin or adnexal swelling, but you can get in the neck. I hope this is clear. But more importantly, postgraduates should know this classification. As I have seen as examiner in many places, students know liver resection, sir. Students know liver anatomy, segmental anatomy. But when the question of short case, when they get a neck swelling, how do you classify them etiologically? They really fumble. It's very excellent, simple classification. They always forget. So postgraduates, please remember to answer this. Congenital, very simple. Lymphangioma, branchial cyst. You can see on the chubby child there with a large swelling in the neck as well as the chest wall. That's a lymphangioma. Branchial cyst, congenital, manifest later. Traumatic, hematoma. Degenerative, a thyroid nodule can undergo a degeneration. Hydrocele, I just brought it for classification, a classical example of exudation cyst. Ovarian cyst, a distension cyst. Sebaceous cyst, ranula, retention cyst. Cystic tumors, I bring this papillary carcinoma thyroid because their nodal, lymph nodal secondaries in the anterior triangle can present as a cystic swelling, and it is a malignancy. Is one of the exceptional cases of a lymph node disease of a malignancy where the node can be cystic, and of course parasitic cysts like cysticercosis and hydatid cyst. I hope postgraduates, you have made the things clear to you. This classification we expect you to know. You may become a SR tomorrow after your post-graduation, and you are asked to take a clinics. You see how beautifully it explains to you so that it is like a checklist for you. So like any other swelling, which all of you have read during your undergraduate time, I'm not going to discuss much about this. What you are going to tell an inspection, all that will follow in the PG level also. Again, locations, extent, size, shape, surface, border, and all the details. I don't think it requires more. But remember, I preferably use the word loco-regional examination. You talk about local examination, always look in and around, whether surrounding area, drainage area, etc. I just given you a checklist. This to be in your pocket. When I say checklist, in your pocket, whenever you have a swelling, back of the mind, keep on answering this question. Oh, is there a punctum there? May not be, as I told you, adnexal tumor, sebaceous cyst. Okay, neck, there is a swelling with some prominent veins and showing some pulsations. Oh, is it an aneurysm or malformation? You saw a swelling with some skin is ulcerated or puckered, another P. Skin is dimpled. Oh, is it a malignancy? You see a swelling, Whole body is studded with small, small swellings here and there, and some pigmentation. I think you know the diagnosis, neurofibroma. And you see a large neck swelling in the last picture with a fold of skin. You know, fold of skin is nothing but it's a platysma. Platysma which is pulled. It happens in a metastasis in the neck. So my dear students, look at this 5-piece, keep in your pocket. Tomorrow, if there's a case of a hydrocele short case, don't mention about punctum. Is it okay? Please apply. Don't mention about platysma sign for a hydrocele. I just want to keep you informed. When you have a swelling, keep this checklist in the mind. When you mention, just these are the one which give you spot diagnosis. So after that, you move on to palpation, and then you know the usual things which you do. As I already mentioned to you, most important thing under palpation is some of the important signs which you are going to elicit here. Look for temperature and tenderness. These are the ones which are important for vascular swellings, aneurysms, or a sarcoma also. Consistency, mobility, fixity, surrounding area. These are the few important other signs which you have to look in all these cases. Now let us just go to one important sign which, as I mentioned in the early part of my talk, is the fluctuation. You have got any neck swelling, you need to do the fluctuation properly. These rules are again which you have read in undergraduates. As I mentioned to you, there's no way it is different for postgraduates also. You are not supposed to do any mistakes. Using both hands properly, watching finger or displacing. They are also called as active finger or passive fingers. Fluctuation should be done in both directions. And when you have very small swelling, you try to do a test called as Paget's test. And these are some of the basic rules of fluctuation. So it is important that you do the fluctuation test properly. Having done the fluctuation properly, that means the swelling is cystic. But when it comes to the neck, what happens is pretracheal fascia, you know, the neck is enclosed by the fascia, the Colles fascia, and the neck pretracheal fascia especially, covering the tense swellings like a thyroid, may sometimes feel as a solid swelling. Carefully, when you press the swelling in the center, it may give an impression of a cyst. Please look into it carefully. When it comes to the lipoma, you can get in the neck, but it will elicit what has been called as fluctuation. We call it as pseudo fluctuation because it elicits fluctuation in only one direction, and fat is a solid tumor, no doubt, but it gives fluctuation. I already mentioned about sebaceous cyst, and rarely a plunging granula swelling in the oral cavity can give rise to cross fluctuation. So, my dear postgraduates, examination of the swelling, fluctuation is the key here, which tilts you to a solid swelling or a cystic swelling. Having done the key test of fluctuation, you look for transillumination. Again, it's not difficult as it has been showing in this picture to do a transillumination, especially in the neck. Only thing is, if you get transillumination like this bright light, of course you have to do it in a dark room. Your diagnosis now gets restricted here. You can see here, of course, these are in the scrotum. Meningocele is usually in the back. So you are left with now thyromas and a ranula. I have written here thyroglossal cyst with a question mark. You know why? There's a mention in a few books, branchial cyst, thyroglossal cyst rarely can give rise to transillumination. Diagnosis is not given based on those findings, but it is given on a different findings. So you have a transillumination positive list. If it is negative, you've got a cyst. Oh, it can be a cold abscess in the neck, or it can be a lipoma, it can be hemangioma. So this is how the list is. So you have done a fluctuation test, that means it is a cyst. When you have done a transillumination test, it is positive, you are left with the two swellings for the neck, and it is negative, means you have got this list, right? And then you go for a sign of what has been called as compressibility. That means you have got a vascular tumor, for example, hemangioma, you compress it, or malformations, keep compression over the swelling for a few seconds, or maybe 30 seconds. Half of the swelling will slowly disappear. When you leave it, it comes back. This is compressibility. Compressibility means the swelling which don't say disappear, it may decrease in size, will come back without any force. This is to differentiate it from, all of you know what is called a reducibility. What is reducibility? Use that word in a hernia. You reduce it, but you need to have a counter force, like patient has to cough or patient has to stand, then only it appears. So reducibility means with the counter force it appears. Compressibility, without a counter force, it appears. You ought to also look into the sternomastoid contraction test. We are talking about the anterior triangle. I just put here two figures. Only to all of you know how to contract the sternomastoid. Again, she's contracting the left by looking to the right side, and force is against the to the opposite side. I have shown you one small swelling here. It was becoming lesser prominent. That means it is deep to the sternomastoid. Maybe a lymph node, maybe any other swelling. That doesn't matter. This was a case of Calicut Medical College, another case. We take it for granted. Oh, it is a swelling in the neck. It is in the anterior triangle. So many started giving a diagnosis of a lymph node, etc. because nobody has done pain of the swelling. It was prominent on sternomastoid contraction. It was so freely mobile. It was a subcutaneous lipoma. It's not a common sight, but remember the importance of each clinical test when you examine a swelling. I hope it's clear. Now comes solid swellings. That's why I told you in the anatomy first picture. Lymph node will come first. Salivary glands will come. You have the nerve sheath. You have got a vagus nerve in the neck. You have got the recurrent nerve. You have the fat. You have the muscle. You have the connective tissue. You have the bone. You have the vessels. So keeping all this in mind, every question you have to ask, what anatomical structure this swelling is arising from. So pulsations, you have to check whenever you have a pulsatile swelling. Whenever, so I said solid swelling, cystic swelling, pulsatile swelling. When you see on inspection any pulsations, immediately think, oh, is it arising from the vessel, or some structure is there underneath which is lifting it up? What happens in a lymph node in the anterior triangle and carotid artery is pushing it, or a bone like cervical rib. So these are some of the basic things. When I take posterior triangle swellings and others, I will talk more about this. So this is what it is basically. Broad classification I mentioned to you: cystic, solid, pulsatile. You have a transformation positive, transformation negative. With this, we will go on to the history taking in patients who have got neck swelling. It is nowhere different. You know the place, exact site. Indian patients come with a large swelling occupying 3-4 triangles. So you are confused. Best one, ask the patient to show on the other side where exactly it started. So you get an idea. Progress, pain, fever, reduction in the size, rapid increase, all this history which you will ask. With each examples I'm going to quote now, I will talk to you more about this. Now, I request all the postgraduates to concentrate. I will give you 1 or 2 minutes time now, 1 minute. Concentrate on each swelling. I will also give some tips to you. What history you will ask. That's why I given you the each swelling. I have picked up 8 important swellings to you. 8. Each swelling has got some different clinical examination. in addition to whatever you have done, that inspection, palpation, size, shape, surface, everything, and each one will give you some diagnosis. Here I require all of you to concentrate well on these swellings. I will give the history to first one. I hope you have been seeing carefully. The first picture I am going to enlarge now and show you now. So look at this first picture. Second picture, this is the swelling. Third picture is here. Fourth, you already I have shown you earlier. Fifth, you can see here. All of you will jump and say it's a thyroid swelling. Here there's one sixth here. You have 7 and you have 8 here. When I enlarge, probably they look better. Right. Now, I'm seeing some student there, Bharat Kumar. In the meantime, I will tell you quickly about the history of this patient who has got a swelling in the right side of the neck of 15 years duration. It was very small in size. To start with, very close somewhere here beneath the angle of the mandible. 15 years duration to attain the present size. No rapid increase, no history of pain, no history of fever, no other features, no difficulty in swallowing, nothing. No weight loss, no loss of appetite, nothing. So if I am asked to ask you to do the quick inspection, will you be able to do? If you say yes, please raise your hand so that somebody can unmute you and talk loudly.
My suggestion is Anuj Shah, yeah, you unmute yourself. See,
Okay.
Because I want you to raise your hand. Don't.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, Anuj Shah, what is that you want to say?
Sir, I think it is a lipoma.
See, that's what I told you. You think it's lipoma. I never asked you the diagnosis. Did I ask you the diagnosis? I want
sir.
you to explain the inspection in this patient.
The swelling extends from the lower part of the earlobe, extending up to the mid part of the anterior triangle of the neck, and extends up to the 2 centimeter lateral to the midline in the front.
That's all. Hello.
And sir, the temporomandibular joint cannot be visible.
Temporomandibular joint. Why did you go up to temporomandibular? Okay, because I need some time. Please remember the first point is that you have to tell there is a swelling. There is a single swelling. First point. You are not told that. There is a swelling situated in the, don't say in the neck. You have to say anterior triangle of the neck. You may tell here there is an extension, little over looking like, because it's a large swelling, because we have little limitation of clinical examination all direction. But purpose of bringing this is 15-year duration, slow growing swelling in the anterior triangle. So single swelling, anterior triangle. You mentioned about vertical extent and also horizontal extent. Surface is smooth, borders are round, skin over is normal. Again, go on telling those negative points here. Okay, punctum is not required, but no pulsations, no dilated veins, okay, no redness. And this is how you are going to tell this swelling. I know we have a limitation of palpation. On palpation, I will quickly summarize and tell you, it was soft cystic fluctuant, transillumination negative swelling, and on sternomastoid contraction, it was deep to the muscle. Now you give me a diagnosis, Anuj Shah.
Yes, sir.
Anuj,
Sir,
put your camera
since
on.
it is,
That looks better, Anuj.
sir, I actually, okay, I'll do that, sir.
Yeah.
Yeah, please give the diagnosis. Now, soft cystic fluctuant, transillumination, negative swelling, deep to the sternomastoid on the right side, 15 years duration.
Sir, I will still go with the diagnosis of lipoma, sir.
Lipoma.
Yes, sir.
So you, okay, I can't say you are wrong, but still I will ask you few other questions. What type of mobility you expect in a lipoma? Number
So
one,
freely mobile, sir.
freely mobile. So did you ask me mobility of this?
No, sir. I did not.
Now I will tell you, soft, cystic, fluctuant, transformation, negative swelling on sternomastoid contraction become less prominent and slightly mobility gets restricted.
Yes, sir.
So 15-year duration, neck swelling, anterior triangle, the hot favorite, most common diagnosis is branchial cyst, my dear friend. Okay?
Yes, sir.
Lipoma is not at all common in the neck. I mentioned you one case I have told you, but common things are common. Site specific surgery swellings are so much sometimes site specific. One look, you should be able to give a diagnosis of branchial cyst in this patient with the 15 years duration. I know limitation, as I mentioned to you, it is a little bit looking like overriding. It is not like that. The size of the swelling is so big, it was giving an impression that it was going over the mandible. If at all
Yes, sir.
you are asked a differential diagnosis, if history is of only 2 months duration or maybe 1.5 months duration, what you would have thought of? History
So
is
I,
1.5 months.
I would have thought of a parotid swelling, sir, or a submandibular swelling.
Forget about parotid swelling for the time being. I told you about neck swelling only. Forget about parotid. Anterior
Good.
triangle swelling.
Cold abscess, sir.
Very good. Cold abscess. Soft cystic fluctuant transformation negative swelling. So nearest diagnosis to the branchial cyst is cold abscess, but we have to look at the history. Okay, we'll proceed because we have got 8 cases to discuss. So this is what is the ultimately you analyze the anterior triangle case for this cystic and solid and transformation positive and negative. I also mentioned to you that somewhere the slip sign, lipoma ruled out, compressibility, hemangioma ruled out, and you come to the location, classical location, branchial cyst and cold abscess. Okay. Now I request one second candidate to get ready for a, you can make out by looking at his hair. See, certain things in surgery are not are very clear. 70-year-old man, he says, all of you are ready with probably a lymph nodal swelling. The swelling in the neck of 5 years duration, 5 years duration. So at least secondaries in the neck you forget. Okay, don't get into, let us not delay. So 5-year duration, slow growing swelling in this region is very clear. This is the swelling. This is the swelling. Okay, swelling is not all that big. It's about 2.5 centimeter or so. This is a sternomastoid which is pushed laterally. Can I ask someone to present this inspection finding? You want to ask any point in the quick history, you can ask me. Now straight away, otherwise go to inspection. Anyone?
Shashank, you raised your hand. Yeah, Janardhan.
Sir.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, Shashank.
Sir, there is a solitary swelling in the anterior triangle of the neck, which is around 2.5 to 2 centimeters.
Go ahead, go ahead.
2 centimeters below the eye.
Are you seeing the swelling properly? I'm not
Yes,
getting
sir.
your audio.
Yes, sir.
Go ahead, go ahead.
The it extends from about 2 centimeter below the ear lobule till about 4 centimeter lower the ear lobule. Skin over the swelling is normal. All the borders are well made out. There are no dilated veins, no scars. Sternomastoid appears to be pushed to the right side.
Okay, I will come to the some of your whatever findings, whatever you are told later. On palpation, what do you expect in this swelling? I'm just asking you. Let us say.
Surface, the consistency. Sir.
You wanted to know the very good. Consistency was firm to hard in consistency.
Skin over the swelling.
Skin was normal.
Mobilities.
Mobility, slightly transverse mobility. Vertical, it is not there. Any other leading question you ask me?
Sternomastoid contraction.
Sternomastoid contraction test, it is less prominent, deep to deep fascia. Okay, my friend, we have to fasten so that the first point you told on inspection is swelling is in the anterior triangle. Again, let me repeat here, my guru, Professor C.R. Ballard, used to always tell that only grandmother also will tell. You have to tell me which triangle in the anterior triangle. Can you tell me now? Which triangle in the anterior triangle? Hello?
Just
Yes, sir.
say yes or no.
Yes, sir.
Which triangle? Quick. I just gave an introduction. In the anterior triangle, there is submandibular, there is a digastric, there is carotid, there is a muscular triangle. Which triangle? Carotid triangle. See, look at the punch line is, punch word is carotid triangle. A 70-year-old man, there is a swelling in the carotid triangle. Look very carefully, the size I mentioned to you, 2.5 centimeter. You can see the shape more or less, not truly round, slightly oval. I mentioned restricted mobility on one side, palpation wise firm to hard, and I wanted you to ask me leading question. There were pulsations over the swelling. Can you give me the diagnosis now?
Carotid body tumor.
Yes. So this is a classical carotid body tumor. Very carefully, if you see, it was in the fork of the common carotid. You can see a little bit of lobulation. You know, carotid body tumor, when it goes within the carotid bifurcation, gives some kind of a lobularity there. This man's, you know, what is this man's complaint? He used to take bath, and during the bath, he used to fall, it seems. So they obviously because of a little bit of financial thing, he comes late. So diagnosis is carotid body tumor. So importance of here is again location, anterior triangle, carotid triangle. So in the exam, you keep it in mind. Oh, this is carotid triangle. Oh, is it a carotid body tumor? 5 years duration. So no metastasis. Clear. And pulsations. I just want to add one more figure to you to keep here. Again, another case. This is from MS Ramaya Medical College. Dr. Srivatsa, when he was the head of the department, we got this case there. Again, a lady with the same location. And I have just brought one classical Lyre sign. This is called Lyre sign. And this was the case of a diagnosed as a lymph nodal swelling. And it is a carotid body tumor. I just want to tell you, not in this patient, some blunders have been committed as thinking that this is a lymph nodal swelling. People have done biopsy and started bleeding, etc. Thank God today we are using ultrasound. With this background, we will quickly move on to a third case. And there are two pictures here, same patient. This is the lower neck. Again, this is a sternomastoid, you can see here. You can see sternomastoid. Yeah. Part of the swelling is in front, part is posterior triangle. But same patient here, this is a swelling here. You can see here. Actually, straight away I will tell you level 3 and level 4 nodes. Okay, level 3 and level 4 nodes. Also going to the posterior triangle 5. This is the classical patient. 2 months duration. Hard nodular mass. Hard nodular mass. I want one another volunteer to present this. Any postgraduate?
Raise your hand, whoever wants to comment. Please raise your hand.
There's a neck swelling here, 2 months duration, hard. You can see here.
Yeah, Ashwant.
Please.
Ashwant, what do you want to say? Unmute yourself.
Sir, is the patient is having any hoarseness of voice?
Very good question you have asked. No history of hoarseness of the voice. Any other question? Hello? Audio, please. Your audio, please.
Yeah, Ashwant. Anyone else?
Anyone can just tell me the inspection finding. History doesn't matter. I see, again, let me tell you in the exam, we are not worried about your final diagnosis per se. But important thing is how you explain this, how you describe this, what all the things which you have missed while examining this patient. That's all we want to know. No history of dysphagia, no history of hoarse of the voice, no history of any other complaints you mentioned. No other complaints were there. Okay. Yes, inspection. Anybody? Anybody?
Sir,
Yeah, yes.
sir, is there dropping of eyelid?
Who is that? Can somebody show me the person who said that drooping of the eyelid? Yes. Can I have a look at you?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, put your camera on.
Please. I can't have a look at you right now. I'm not seeing you,
Yes, sir.
but just want to say congratulations to you, because that's what the mind doesn't know, eyes cannot see. You can see drooping of the right eyelid. That's what the point I want to tell you. Loco-regional examination, what I told you. This is a patient who has got the large nodal mass here that I mentioned to you, 3, 4, 5, hard nodular fixed mass with Horner syndrome. This is the classical pseudotosis. Good observation. So this type of patient will be kept in the examination, and you are not supposed to miss this finding of pseudotosis. Okay, continuing in the discussion, madam, restricted mobility was present. I want you to answer what other examination you do in this patient other than this nodal mass. Yes.
Cranial
Please
nerve
use the audio.
examinations.
Yes.
Cranial nerve examination.
Which cranial nerve?
Hypoglossal and spinal accessory.
Hypoglossal will come here, low down. I said it's about 3 and 4. Okay, maybe picture is not very clear here. Hypoglossal, you get little higher up there, or the submandibular region. Okay, cranial nerve examination, accessory. Yes, anything else? What other examination?
Sir, oral cavity examination
For what?
to look for any lesions which might have caused the lymphadenopathy.
Don't see any lesions. We are talking about a case of a hard nodular fixed mass metastasis. Okay, growth, ulcerative lesion, mainly a ulcerative lesion.
Yes.
What do you think? Which are the lesion which you look for here, especially lower neck 3, 4, 5? Let us say. I specifically want to look for tongue. Okay, tongue.
Okay.
So this is important. So they will ask you, have you examined for posterior 1/3 of the tongue in this patient, right? How do you examine for posterior 1/3 of the tongue? Inspection or palpation?
Inspection.
Posterior 1/3 is better palpated rather than
Dan expected, sir.
Okay, I just want to quickly
The posterior 1/3.
to say secondaries in the neck is one of the very, very common problems. We can discuss it for more than 1 hour as a short case. You have to get ready with that. Diagnosis is secondaries in the neck, occult primary, or maybe primary is seen. If the primary is seen, the case is very clear. Say carcinoma posterior 1/3 with the neck node. When it is not there, these are the occult primary sites. Many are there, starting from the posterior 1/3 of the tongue, post-cricoid region, fossa of Rosenmuller, all that upper esophagus, bronchus. Don't forget bronchus may not be classical in this patient. And in a female, of course, the thyroid will come, breast will come. These are all the broader, areas of occult primary site, ethmoid, sinuses, etc. Okay, so we'll go to the next case. Is a similar case. So I will not ask anyone to examine, but just to tell you that this is the patient where you look for that. I mentioned to 1P, puckering. So puckering of the skin, when it is involved, it's a metastasis with obviously these are the signs which later it fungates, ulcerates, bleeding. So what you call broadly as ulceration or secondary changes. Again, a common short case for you. Carefully, if you see lower down here, platysma is pulled here. Look here. I'm not sure how much is visible there, but so puckering is present, platysma sign is present. This is a classical metastasis in the neck. Can I ask for one volunteer to get ready for this swelling? This is a Calicut Medical College exam case more than 10-15 years back. A 35-year young man who has a swelling here, some kind of 2 to 3 centimeter oval, almost like this oval swelling in the region here. You can see obviously anterior triangle and a thyroid region only. And this is how it was. Can I ask anyone to
Nikhil, are you there? Nikhil Makineni.
anyone to present inspection finding, please?
Yes, sir.
Please.
Yeah, Nikhil.
Tell who
Sir,
you are. Tell who you are.
sir, my name is Nikhil, sir. I'm an undergraduate student.
Oh, good. Come on.
It's a midline swelling, solitary
No,
midline.
no, sir. It's not a midline swelling. Just see here, Nikhil.
It's not a midline.
Lateral swelling. Okay.
It's a lateral swelling.
In fact, midline is shifted here. Doesn't matter. This is trachea. I can understand the limitation, but still, this is a trachea. Okay, go ahead.
It is a solitary swelling, which is approximately 3 to 3.5 centimeter in size. It appears to be slightly nodulated, and there is no puckering. There are no sinuses or scars present over the swelling, and the skin is not pigmented. It is normal, and the borders are well defined.
You are to tell a location. You are told extent, size, shape, surface, border, skin over the swelling, surrounding area, any negative points. All that, most of the things you have mentioned. Looking at the swelling in that area, what other special tests you do in this patient?
Sir, can we know that if it is moving with deglutition?
That is the reason I asked you. It is not moving with the deglutition. Look at that's why I said the swelling was in the region of thyroid. I have
Yes, sir.
never mentioned that it's a thyroid swelling. It was not moving with the deglutition. Okay? Right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. What else information you want under palpation?
The consistency of the swelling, sir.
Was firm in consistency. Size, shape, everything is whatever you have mentioned is correct. Extent, everything. If you see carefully, you can see here is almost like you can see upper border of thyroid cartilage, and here it is little down. You know, down means here, but still it is in the neck here. See? Okay,
Yes,
go
sir.
ahead.
Um,
Palpation, it's firm. What else?
Yes,
No
sir.
pulsations. Does not move with the deglutition.
yes,
5-year
sir.
duration. Yes. Anybody else? You can still try. Nothing wrong in that. Yes.
Sir, mobility.
Mobility. Restricted
Cross-canal
mobility, little bit on the transverse. Vertically, absolutely zero. Here, the trachea comes in the way, no, for the swelling.
Yes,
When
Yes,
the swelling is somewhere between the tracheoesophageal groove there, wherever the thyroid swelling is there. So it won't move that freely. Don't expect it to move like this. It's a
Retrosternal
natural-
extension.
Sorry?
Retrosternal extension.
No. Lower body is very clear. Lower body is very clear. Okay, now I will give a clue because I mentioned to you a little tricky case. As I started palpating this patient was getting little bit of cough, brassy cough, like that, cough. So that was the clue. No movement with the deglutition. It doesn't move deglutition.
Sir,
So,
there any
Sorry?
hoarseness of voice present, sir?
I said brassy cough, no hoarseness.
Laryngoscele.
Pressing.
Yes,
know-
sir.
Yes.
Laryngoscele can be present. Yes, sir.
Laryngoscele will not come this level, brother. Laryngoscele is much higher, no? It's much higher. Okay, larynx is usually above the hyoid actually. Pharyngeal pouch comes below the hyoid. Laryngoscele comes little above. Okay, I think again the time factor is very important. Swelling was not moving with the deglutition, but in the region of thyroid, 5-year duration, somehow it was not fitting in with the thyroid. When I am pressing, there is a bit of hoarseness or not hoarseness story, brassy cough. It was a neural tumor. It is a schwannoma arising from the vagus nerve. Is it clear? That's what I
Yes.
told you. Whenever you are given a case of a swelling in the neck, don't take it for granted. This is in the region of thyroid, not moving the deglutition. 5-year duration. It was not malignancy, nothing else. As somebody said, it is not retrosternal. So what else will come? Ask that question to yourself. Oh, nerve. What is the nerve comes? Long nerve. That's why it was oval in shape. Oval in shape. Thyroid also lobe, when it enlarges, it becomes oval. Again, restricted mobility, one direction only. This is the schwannoma arising from the left vagus nerve. Is it clear to you? So,
Yes.
every swelling in the neck is so interesting. Depends upon the location, like a carotid body tumor in the carotid triangle with pulsations. This is a classical case of a schwannoma arising from the vagus nerve. This is not a difficult case, but quickly we need to know because anterior triangle is one of the cases. You can see here, and there's something here, posterior triangle. So when a swelling is given carefully, there's a biopsy done there. Young girl, loss of weight is present, a soft cystic fluctuant swelling here, and 2 months duration, loss of weight, fever, everything is present. So what do you expect the diagnosis? Straightforward case.
Radhe, Atri.
Sir, history of any contact tuberculosis?
Even if, madam, there's no history of, it's not like contact COVID or contact tuberculosis, don't expect it to get. I have already mentioned to you loss of weight, loss of appetite, even
Cold
raise of
abscess.
temperature,
Yeah.
cold abscess, straight
Cold
away
abscess.
diagnosis. There's a biopsy done, it's a cold abscess. I just put one more to you. Not every cold abscess is cold in nature. Often you may get it little reddish like this. It was my case only. Patient did not have any high grade temperature, might have got second infected. That was a cold abscess. And Radhe, what is the thing which is shown here as a part of the treatment? Can you tell me in one sentence?
Aspiration
we are
from a non-dependent
aspirating.
area.
Okay, done. Non-dependent aspiration by
Anti-gravity
using a
drainage.
wide bore needle. All right. And just please, all of you, read about tuberculosis, the cervical spine, how cunningly TB spine can present. You see where all retropharyngeal, lower cervical, behind carotid sheath, and all along the nerve roots. So please make a note of it. Tuberculosis lymphadenitis from cervical spine, where all it can present as a neck swelling. Submandibular swelling is fairly straightforward here. In the classical location of submandibular triangle, where you need to differentiate from the stone or submandibular enlargement versus a lymph nodal enlargement by doing one simple test. I think all of you know, and that is bidigital method of examination. Right? So submandibular lymph node is classically not palpable bidigitally. On the other end, submandibular gland, when it is enlarged, bidigitally palpable because it has got superficial as well as deep lobes. Other than that, rest of the things, you will have the usual inspection palpation findings. Two swellings you can get from submandibular region here. One is a chronic silodinitis. Second one is with a large stone. One, you need not have a stone. Clear? So these are the two possibilities. Tumors are rare for submandibular swellings. I want one more volunteer now. This is the male patient. He had a lot of skin pigmentation. I don't know how far you can see all this macular, some kind of a patches here and there. And one or two small swellings. You can see here one swelling, multiple. And I'll show you one video of this patient. And that was the swelling. And you see that when he's coughing, it gave an expansile impulsion cough. You can see, look at that. There's a swelling there. Lower neck, anterior triangle only. He's coughing. There's expansile impulsion cough. Maculopapular regions everywhere with some small nodules like thing. Can somebody give me not only a diagnosis but explanation? Yes. Somebody volunteer? Somebody? You can see the swelling is again 3-4 years duration. Painless swelling there. Yes. Anybody? We have to
Laryngocele.
do it. We have, I think, only 5 more minutes. Yes.
Laryngocele.
Anyone? Again, who said laryngocele? See, laryngocele comes much above. I have a laryngocele, but this is not laryngocele.
Esophageal diverticulum.
Hey, esophageal diverticulum, you won't get there. See, again, what the mind doesn't know, eyes cannot see. Carefully, eagle's eye. Surgeon should have eagle's eye. What is the skin problem? What I told you. Multiple skin spots, pigments, multiple small nodules. Swelling is the anterior triangle. Again, yes. Anybody?
Neurofibroma.
Yes. Somebody said neurofibroma. Again, a schwannoma on the right side. Correct answer. And condition what patient is having was von
Recklinghausen disease.
So von Recklinghausen's disease, type 1 neurofibromatosis, one schwannoma arising from the vagus nerve, and why patient was having this expansile impulsion cough. Anybody can tell? Why? That patient did not have the one which I showed you, that Calicut Medical College. Why? Because vagus nerve goes also into the
Carotid triangle. Carotid triangle.
Vagus nerve also goes down into thorax. And so portion of the schwannoma was
mediastinal extension.
Portion of the schwannoma had mediastinal extension. So when you ask the patient to cough, it was plunging out. Can you see that? Lower body is visible when he coughs out. It's like something like a plunging goiter. So again, an importance in the clinical examination of all the tests which you are supposed to do in this patient. This was I wanted to finish 8. I brought this 9 only to find out, as somebody was telling all the time, laryngocele. It's actually a laryngocele in the upper part of the neck. He had an expansile impulse on the cough. Remember, laryngocele comes, actually this is your hyoid bone, above the hyoid and anterior. Whereas pharyngeal pouch will come below the hyoid and posterior. You know, pharynx is posterior, larynx is anterior. It's a beautiful thing you mentioned, as laryngocele is anterior and subhyoid, pharyngeal pouch is posterior and subthyroid. Okay, so this is the clinical wisdom we should have. I think before we conclude, I have some small 3 videos just to complete. May not be neck swelling. This is what I mean by sign of indentation. Look at this swelling first. What I'm trying to do is sign of molding. Look at that swelling. I'm molding in all direction. Little bit of mobility. Then now the skin fixation. Skin at the site of punctum is fixed. This is indentation. See, you can indent. And this is altering the shape is molding. That's a classical or sebaceous cyst. Now look here. This one. This lady, there's actually intergluteal region swelling, not in the neck. There was a small AV malformation. Young girl, this was a classical case of AV malformation with the pulsations. I'm not sure how much you are able to see the pulsations. And last, this video is the swelling in the buccal mucosa here. Somebody made an incision, tried to excise it, started bleeding. He just stopped it. It was a cavernous hemangioma. Malformation, again, they are hematomas. This was sign of compressibility which is being demonstrated. Keep pressure for about few seconds and leave it. Part of the swelling becomes less prominent and then slowly it fills up. That's what it is. So this is how it is. And last spotter for you. Diagnosed as implantation dermoid cyst. Patient had a fall. This is from the Lata Mangeshkar Hospital and NCPK Sadhve Medical College in Nagpur. A swelling in the palm. Patient had a history of trauma. So everybody jumps and says implantation dermoid cyst. But it was having local raise of temperature, pulsations. It was again a vascular swelling. It was a pseudoaneurysm. So that's what I conclude here. And before I proceed,
Sir, can you take some? Can someone ask some questions, sir?
Yeah, please. If I know the answer, I will give you. Otherwise, I'll get the answer and get ready next time.
Yeah. Students, if you want to have any questions, please. Anyone?
Sir, the swelling that you had mentioned, the one which you had told us was a schwannoma, the one where the patient had brassy cough.
Yes.
Sir, is it possible that it could be a parotid tumor?
Parotid?
Sorry, parathyroid, not parotid, parathyroid. Could it be a parathyroid tumor also in that location? Is that possible?
Madam, that is why I did not mention too much about differential diagnosis. Even in the examination, even if you tell a left lobe enlargement of the thyroid, with the thyroiditis, with a little bit of fixation, we will accept it. But you need to get ready with the differential diagnosis. I mentioned brassy cough, so neural tumor should come into the diagnosis. It was a oval tumor, also called as a potato tumor, like, it was feeling a little bit of different consistency. You can give a clinical diagnosis of parathyroid, but normally I will accept it, but generally don't give a clinical diagnosis of parathyroid. Okay. Usually parathyroid also moves with the deglutition. Okay.
Yeah, Meghna,
Hello,
what
sir.
is the question? Meghna?
Hello, sir.
Yes.
I have 2 questions.
Sir, how to elicit platysmal sign, sir? It was
Platysma
commonly asked
sign-
in our class.
Platysma sign is not elicited. You just ask the patient to turn to one side. You can see that naturally that the fold of the platysma getting becoming more prominent, because already the tumor, which is the deep, usually lymphnodal secondaries are deep to the deep fascia. Once they come, tumor ruptures to the deep fascia, come to subcutaneous pain, it pulls the platysma. It becomes more prominent when you turn the neck. Okay, this is what I know. Yes.
Sir, good evening, sir. I have 2
Yes.
questions. Sir, I am a third year postgraduate student.
Yeah.
So often while presenting history, when we say that a patient presented with swelling of so and so 2 into 2 centimeter size, some examiners they say how can the patient say 2 into 2 centimeter size? So you have to comment it like a cricket ball or an egg. Or
Madam,
something.
as per the clinical discussion and clinical interpretation,
Yes.
from Kanyakumari to Kashmir to east and west to north, there is some minor difference of presentation, and you better follow whatever your teachers tell you, because they will protect you in the examination. I know exactly what I'm just showing you in this picture. I know exactly how much is 2 centimeter. I know the length of my index finger. So probably I can tell this is 2 centimeter in size. This is 5 centimeter. Small in size, gradually increased in the present size. So peanut to egg to watermelon is not accepted nowadays.
Sir,
Yes.
my second question is, sir, when a case of hydrocele is given and we want to do a transillumination test, usually we have been taught that do in a dark room and all those things. So if it is not elicitable during the examination, but we know it is in hydrocele, so during presentation, what should we say? Transillumination positive or?
No, transillumination is negative, means it is hematocele, chylocele, pyocele, anything. You have to elicit a transillumination test in a dark room. Though not dark room, at least you have some cover, at least temporarily. You'll be able to get a transillumination, even though it is not a jet dark room. You'll be able to get. If you don't get, it's hematocele, pyocele, or chylocele. Okay. Yes.
Any other questions? So it's a wonderful session. Actually, I really enjoyed it. I remembered my
I've already told you that I'm basically the very, very fundamentals I'm teaching here, especially these are the short cases. I thought first we'll start like that.
Yes.
And so I'm not sure.
Can we have your class again tomorrow, same time, sir, 5 o'clock?
Tomorrow is...
or day after, your choice.
Yeah. Can we have it on Thursday, sir? Give me one day off.
Okay, sure. Sure, we'll have
and just for the information, this entire my presentation, if somebody wants, they can use it, no issues. There's nothing, but only thing is, photographs are obviously, don't send it for publication and all, because these are all there in my book. That's all. Okay.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Thank you, sir. Thank you.